Welcome, wonderful listeners, to the Shadow and Starlight Podcast, where two friends deep dive into popular fantasy and romantasy books. We get into the stories, characters, world building, lore, and so much more.
So, buckle your seatbelts for this wild roller coaster ride of emotions, magical worlds, and laughs. I'm Kinsey.
I'm Kana.
And today, it's a little bit different. We are talking about all things pre-Onyx Storm, mostly predictions, and a discussion of popular second Signet theories.
We're going to skip the content warning today, but this podcast is still rated R. And if you're listening to this, I'm sure you've read Iron Flame and Fourth Wing, so we should be good.
Yeah. Next, if you like what you hear today and want more, please come back next Thursday, and next Thursday, and next Thursday, and every Thursday after that for a brand new episode. As a taller podcast, we'd love to hear you guys' feedback to better ourselves and expand our book-loving community. Please feel free to give us reviews, reach out to us on social media, and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and watch us on YouTube at Shadow and Starlight Pod.
Yeah. Drinking the pod. We're actually recording this right after Iron Flame episode that we just finished. So we're still drinking water and you're still drinking lemonade?
Yes, I am.
Same. And that's why we look the exact same. We literally just stopped the recording, press record again.
Yep. Straight into it.
All right. 4 days until Onyx Storm. Crazy. We're almost in the 3, 2, 1 countdown. Yeah. Reminder, check out our Onyx Storm reaction episode. It's going to be releasing Monday after the release. So we will not have a Thursday episode next week, but we will have an episode the following Monday. We're going to give ourselves that week to binge Onyx Storm and start preparing our reaction episode. And then also our first deep dive episode, which will come out 3 days after on that Thursday, the week after Onyx Storm. So.
This feels so surreal.
There's be a lot happening.
Yeah. The closer it gets, the more I'm like, oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
So
we ain't crossing the parapet.
We're not crossing the parapet today, but we are going to go to Battle Brief today. Our Battle Brief is going to consist of discussions on all the predictions that we have and all the second Signet theories that we think are possible for this upcoming book.
Yeah. All right. We're just going to alternate Onyx Storm predictions, and we both listed some of our top guesses for what's going to happen in book 3. The first one I'm going to talk about is a character death. I'm predicting that the character death in the next book is going to be Dane or one of Violet's siblings. Maybe I'm just saying this because I'm praying everyone on the Iron Squad lives, although I would be really upset if Mira dies. But if Brennan dies, I would be like, nah. Regardless, I think it will be someone close to Violet, and I think the nature of this character's death is going to drive a deeper wedge between Violet and Xaden. Either Xaden or the Venom he is now part of are responsible for Mira, Brennan, or Dane's death, and he is unable or unwilling to stop it for some reason that we don't know of right now. And Violet, being the person she is, will feel tremendous guilt and loss and possibly break up with Xaden. Yeah, I'm putting it out there. I do love Xaden, but I think their relationship is high-key toxic, and she might be better off focusing on saving the world and also coping with the tremendous trauma she has experienced ever since conscription day, basically. I do want them to be endgame, but this relationship is a hot mess, and it's about to get even messier. And if Dane does die, I think it will be in a way that he is sacrificing himself for Violet according to his current redemption arc that's happening. But if it doesn't happen in book 3, I do think he's going to die sacrificing himself for Violet later in the books.
As he should.
God. I was waiting for it.
But yeah, I've already started pre-mourning somebody's death. I just know it's going to happen. And I know it's going to be somebody close to Violet. Like it. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Might as well get a like her family is just slowly getting smaller.
I mean, I doubt all 3 of the siblings are going to make it to the end of the series.
So sad. Well, my prediction is one of my favorites that I have. I feel like Violet is going to find out a little bit more about her heritage or her family history or her parents' history or something of that nature. So I have a pretty wild prediction. And I think that 1, either Violet was born half Benin or part Benin, or 2, she has a bigger family than she knows about. So let's talk about it. This prediction in theory first came about when Rebecca Yarros dropped the snippet of Onyx Storm. So the first part of my prediction, her being part Venom, is the fact that she has silver hair and that her hair fades at the end, and because of the fever that she had as a baby. And we also know that this is what caused her bones to be so fragile as well. I think this kind of ties either into her mother or father being Venom or turning Venom to save her at birth, and this could explain her hair since Venom drained the things around them, and this could also explain the Venom's fascination towards Violet. And this kind of ties into the prediction or theory that kind of talked about in our last Iron Flame episode about Lilith possibly being Venom or turning Venom to save Violet at birth or for some bigger cause. My second wild prediction in regards to her lineage is that the silver-haired wielder that was featured in the Onyx Storm snippet could be Violet's sister. I haven't seen this theory yet. I'm not really on theory TikTok because I always spoil stuff for myself. So I try to stay off of book talk because there's a lot of spoilers there. But the snippet did feature a silver-haired dark wielder, and I did find this very interesting because Violet is the only one that we know of, minus the woman from Erasure, but I don't really know how she ties to it, that has silver hair or this much silver hair. And the girl that is featured in the Onyx Storm snippet, it just kind of raised flags because why do you have silver hair? And why was this interaction so important? Why was this the one thing that she decided to highlight? So, quote, her silver braid swings free of her hood as her attention whips in her direction, and her eerie gaze jumps to mine and widens slightly under a faded tattoo on her forehead. My blood chills when a smirk tilts her mouth, distorting the red veins in her temples, and then she disappears, end quote. So, this is a very, very, very interesting interaction. I feel like their eye contact was very weird and questionable, and I feel like the silver hair resemblance is very important to note. And I don't have any sound or concrete evidence to back this, but we know that her family is notorious for keeping secrets, so I wouldn't be surprised if this were true. And I feel like her family and her parents are really in the know about the Venom and the Wyvern, so I feel like there is something a lot deeper than what we know or is going on. But I definitely think the silver haired girl has something to do with that.
Oh my god, what if she had a twin?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. And they got separated.
I agree with all of what you're saying. I think this ties in nicely, like you said, to my theory about Lilith being a Venom, and that's why Violet's silver hair is drained, because she was probably still having to channel when she was pregnant, or some other thing happened relating to her mom being a Venom. I definitely think it's possible that she could have more family.
Yeah.
She'll be wild. Oh my god.
And maybe
I like that prediction.
to go along with the twin aspect, like maybe Violet was the only one they could save in that regard and keep her human, versus the twin that actually got fully drained throughout the pregnancy and they got separated. And maybe that's why they know so much about the Venom and why her dad did all this research. I don't know.
I like what you're thinking. I think we might be right. But I think that about every theory we have. Okay, my next prediction is actually a couple shipping one, maybe? So, we know that Kat wants power and status for her family. That explains why she's going to the length she is to divide Xaden and Violet and trying to regain her betrothal to Xaden. And considering we have another crown prince in the Iron Squad that has absorbed Kat's drift, I think she might switch tactics and go for Oryx or possibly his brother Halden's crown. Or they could fall in love before she even learns about his title. I think it would be kind of a cool plot twist if she ended up on the Navarian throne after trying so hard for Tyrandor. And I will say she is growing on me. Yeah. Now that I've reread Iron Flame and we've talked about her a lot, I actually don't hate her.
Yeah, I didn't give her much thought the first read, but the second read for sure. I don't know.
I've seen a lot of theories that it's either going to be Kat and Auric or possibly Auric and Sloane, which I think would be interesting too, because that would be Auric and the daughter of the rebellion. So interesting.
That would be very cool. Interesting.
We'll see.
I like that. Okay. My next one is about who the sage is. And this one is highly unlikely because I'm pretty sure Rebecca has already confirmed that her dad is dead, finito, done, he's not coming back. But this is where my head is at. Again, this is a wild theory, but I believe that the sage or whoever is in charge of the Venom, who is so obsessed with Violet, could be her father. And this also ties into the whole twin theory. One, he left the one book that revealed the truth about what happens beyond the wards. And Navarre didn't even have any documented books on this topic, which is very interesting. Two, he was always set her up for success even in his death. He was giving her knowledge, through notes and of course the book, and just that all that held the knowledge that she did to survive the Venom attacks, and from the things that he had taught her growing up as well, like the letters that he had her and Dane try to solve and translate. And I don't know, it just seemed like all these things that he did to set her up for this moment, like he just knew what her destiny was. Maybe because of her birth, maybe because he also gave up something to save her. And my last thought is Violet is the one thing that can kill the Venom with one hit, which is very questionable. And I think they've always said throughout these series that magic always wants a balance. And I'm thinking, could her power be that balance? And could her father know this? And the Venom are so connected to her. I feel like there is just so much more to come. And I will say again that I'm pretty sure this is very unlikely, but like even in death, he has prepared her for these moments. And I feel like there's a lot that he knows that we don't know that we'll probably figure out in his or Lilith's research and journals and stuff like that. So
yeah. Ooh, that's very interesting. I'm also not on board with her father still being alive, but I'd love the line of reasoning there. It makes sense. I don't know, man. Every theory I hear or read or talk about just makes me question everything.
Same.
Just when I think I have an idea of what I think is going to happen. No, I don't. Okay, I'm going to talk about the Isle Kingdoms next. I did mention this a few times in our Iron Flame episodes, but I do believe Violet's quest to find the truth and find allies for her kingdom will lead her to the Isle Kingdoms. And I'm predicting that she will find the 7th Den hatching grounds and or Xaden's mother. At this point, we have heard where all the other hatching grounds are for the other breeds of dragons, which begs the question, where is Andarna's? Where did her kind go after she was left behind? Has her kind gone extinct? I don't know. But since the Isle Kingdoms is not connected to Promiel, and we haven't really heard much about it, so I definitely think it's possible that maybe her kind fled there and the hatching grounds are there. And then as far as Xaden's mother goes, we know that she had a probably toxic political marriage to Zane's father, and after she fulfilled the child rearing requirements, she left and she's out there lost in the sauce somewhere doing God knows what. So I think she's going to swing back around at some point, and I think Violet may run into her, which will be really interesting because while she's in the midst of saving Xaden, she could meet his mom, and that would just be a whole other thing. But even if it's not in book 3 or the Isle Kingdoms, I do think she's going to come back into the story at some point.
I agree. It's very interesting to think that his mom hasn't been mentioned up until this point, like until Iron Flame. Yeah. We haven't heard any word of her until Iron Flame, so I feel like that's very important to note as well.
It's just so notable that she's still alive.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Is she just never going to come to the story? She's just out there somewhere? No, I don't think so.
Where you at, homie?
Where you is, girl? And I don't know. The fact that she just left Xaden when he was like 10 years old makes me think she's not going to be a very good person or really care about him. But it would be interesting to see how that all goes down.
Are we actually going to see Xaden out of control? Other than it being on account of Violet, his mama issues would probably be the one thing that'd be like make him lose his
mommy
control.
Issues, no doubt.
Yeah.
God, I am so nervous about their relationship and Xaden going in this book. Like, I think we both agree he's probably going to be hotter, and because he's in his villain era and he's way more powerful now.
Yeah.
But honestly, if he's not doing everything he can to get out of the Venom and making sure he doesn't hurt Violet, I'm going to be pretty pissed at him. And I'm already pretty pissed at him.
Yeah.
Which is why I brought up the whole thing in our Iron Flame episode. Or wait, was this episode? I have no idea. That they might break up.
Yeah, it was this episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting lost in the sauce.
I don't know. I don't even want to talk about Xaden and Violet because it makes me sad. I just know this is going to be like so emotional. Okay.
Yeah.
So, as I was speaking on Papa Sorrengail, I feel like even if he doesn't make a reappearance, which I doubt that he would, I feel like his research will. And this is very brief, but I believe that his research should be a key weapon in solving our venom problem that we seem to have. And well, after we save Zayden, of course, we have to cure him and then solve our venom problem. But yeah, I think that his research will make a reappearance, of course. And we know that Lilith's journal will be present, but I feel like the only way for her to figure out how to get rid of the venom and solve all these issues and learn more about Andarna is to find her father's research.
I agree. The research has been so hyped up to this point where if it's not something major, I'm going to be salty.
Yeah.
All right. My last prediction. I'm sure if you've been listening to our episodes, you can guess it. I think Brennan will be revealed as a traitor and or a liar. So, yes, I can go on, and I have that I do not trust this mofo Brennan. And I think and hope mostly that we will learn what happened with Naolan 6 years ago, the truth of it, and what the heck the rune scar on his hand is. I don't trust him, like I said, and I would be a little bit shocked if he was a traitor to the revolution, but I do think it will be revealed that he is lying about something very important, and a lot of people, including myself, are going to be pissed when the truth comes out. But
yeah.
I don't trust him. There's something going on there. I'm sure of it.
Yes. I don't know.
I don't trust this man.
I don't get the same vibes, but I don't doubt you either. So we'll see.
We'll see. I keep seeing on my book talk feed other people who are suspicious of Brennan. I'm like, yes, let's be friends. All right. Time to get into our second Signet discussion. We were originally going to break down and talk about all the theories and all the evidence for the majority of the second Signet theories, but there is a lot, and it was a lot to filter through. So we actually decided that we're just going to each pick our top 3, make sure they're different, and we'll really dig in deep to those versus just doing like a surface level examination of all the second Signet theories, because there's a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna open up with my number 1, which wasn't my number 1 a few episodes ago, and now it is, which is wild. But truthsayer, I'm convinced. I am convinced. So if you have listened to our episodes, I apologize because this is going to be repeating a lot of information I've already told you, but I gotta share. I've compiled what I feel are the most important pieces of evidence, so let's go through them. The biggest piece is that we know that signets reflect who the writer is at their core, and we know that Violet desires knowledge and truth to keep herself grounded, so this makes perfect sense, reflecting who she is. And then there's a subtle info drop about truthsayers in one of the chapter headers about them being more dangerous than intensics, which really hypes up this signet. And then the only truthsayer we have met at this point is present for just a little bit and then dies a few pages later, which is Nora from the interrogation. And definitely this makes me think someone else is going to be a truthsayer in the series. And at this point, I do think it's Violet. If not her, I think it's going to be Auric. Possibly, maybe. Chapter 57, the meeting with Malgren, is also another key piece of evidence. Violet notes that Xaden was outright lying when he said something to Malgren, like, yeah, we know, but why are you pointing it out that he was lying? And after Malgren said something, Violet thinks, quote, he said exactly what he meant, aka the truth. So you're pointing that out as well. And in the same scene, Andarna's opaque bond is also specifically referenced, which I feel like is also one of the biggest pieces of evidence that she is referencing truth and lies here. And then you get a reference of Andarna's bond a few sentences later. And then the next piece of evidence was a Christmas gift that someone made for Rebecca Yaros. It says Violet for Truth with a dragon on it. And this also makes me think Truthsayer. I was trying to find the post and the comments that I read. Apparently it was referencing it was maybe like a presidential slogan or something. I don't remember which president it was, something for truth. And so I think the gift was referencing that, but I still do think that this could be pointing to the fact that she's a truthsayer. Maybe. I don't know. Rebecca loves to leave us little nuggets, so I'm grasping onto every single one I get.
Yeah.
The last piece of evidence is how Violet ciphers through information to get to the truth rather quickly. Yeah, we know she's smart, but I mean, dang girl. Her realizations happen rapidly, and she often has a physical reaction to them. So this whole truth and lies thing, I feel like, is so intertwined with who Violet is, and it would make perfect sense for her to be a truthsayer.
Yes. This is also one of my top second Signet theories. as well. It makes the most
The
sense.
show. It does.
Yeah.
I can't get it out of my head now.
The other theory that I like, though, does kind of tie into the truth sayer theory, and it's her ability or her signet being an amplifier. This one isn't as sound, but there are a couple instances that could support this. So after like going back through my books and going back over my annotations and trying to find moments when the people around her have amplified power when she's near, this kind of happens quite a bit. My question is, could she make people's signets stronger? Or like her nearness to other people, like amplify other people's signets? And here are some
Yeah.
examples of some people that had or became more powerful in Violet's presence. So one, Mira being able to create her own wards outside of the wards of Navarre. And we know that her signet wasn't of much use after she left Navarre until the scene where Violet kind of pushes her to wield when they're facing off against Venom. The second one is Rhiannon, and her biggest goal was to wield through walls. And the first time she achieved this was when she was trying to save Violet from being caught with the dagger by Barish. And this was the first time she was able to do this. The next one is Liam, RIP, buddy. Then we mentioned him wood and ice before he died.
Yes, in the
Right.
final battle. And we don't know if it was an editing mistake or an oversight.
Yeah.
But it's very suspicious. I think his dragon's name means ice.
Yeah. So yeah, he did, whether it was a mistake or not, he did with ice and he was near Violet and trying to save Violet. So this could also be, something to note. And then Zayden, of course, I feel like their weird thought projections could be a symbol of this because he is an intensic, so he is able to read people's intentions. So maybe his intentions are projected into her. I don't know. So maybe he could be able to project other people's intentions to her. I don't know. And the way that she could possibly be seeing his dreams as well makes me think about that too.
Well, in the throne scene, I actually feel like that makes sense. I've heard second signet theories in the throne scene talking about how she's maybe a chameleon or can reflect other people's signets back at them. But we know that she like sees through Zayden's eyes and enters his brain in that scene. And I feel like maybe that's because she's amplifying his intrinsic abilities, because we know in the past that he's sent her mental images down their bond and stuff. And so for her to fully step into his head, maybe that's because she's amplifying his signet.
Yeah. And at R /fourth wing on Reddit also touches on this, saying that she might be a type of siphon, like Zayden is a type of intrinsic. So this person on Reddit states that Violet could siphon her powers to people around them, which could also aid in amplifying their signets, which is the opposite of what a Venom does. A Venom drains power from people and sucks all that magic, while Violet could siphon her powers to other people and amplify it. And I found this theory very interesting because they also state that this could be a way to possibly purify those who have turned Venom. Since we know that she is a weapon, she could be the cure.
That would be interesting. I've never seen that. I never thought about it, but I like it a lot.
Yeah. I like this one. But I feel like this also ties into the truth sayer as well. But yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. It's interesting because a lot of the instances you brought up as evidence for amplifying is actually tying into evidence I'm using for my next theory on her second signet, which is compulsion. I saw this theory on TikTok from at baker.gracie, and I cannot forget it. So according to her, Violet's second signet is compulsion, and she thinks she ordered Zayden to survive with compulsion, hence him becoming Venom. And looking back, I feel like this could apply to so much. So for example, like you were talking about, Rhi wasn't able to summon through the walls until Violet needed her to. Mira wasn't able to create her own wards until Violet needed her to. I don't know. There's a lot of other things that I think could apply to this where she's knowingly or unknowing compelling people. I'm not sure how it would really work per se, either through thoughts or words or both, or maybe a completely different way. But at the end of Iron Flame, another example, she yells at her mom to listen and trust her for once, and then Lilith actually does. Possibly could have been under compulsion. And even her mantras, I will not die today, I will save him, I think this could have interesting implications. I could see her compelling herself with her mantra to save Zayden, and she will literally ruin herself and compromise her values to accomplish that one goal. I don't know if compulsion would work on yourself because I don't think you can use signets on yourself, but I don't think that's been explored. So it might be a gray area, but either way, yikes. To play devil's advocate, this could be totally wrong. And there are a lot of instances that would prove otherwise, unless Violet doesn't really know when she's using her compulsion. For example, at the end of Iron Flame, she's yelling at Sloane not to siphon her mom's life, but Sloane doesn't listen. Maybe she was so burnt out at that point she couldn't use Andarna's Signet being compulsion. I don't know. There's a lot of plot holes in this theory, but I do think it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. I like that one. I don't know. Never thought about that one either. I've never. Like I said, I'm not heavy on like book talk because all the spoilers, but that's interesting to hear about it. Nice.
Yeah.
My next theory is that Violet could be a knowledge seeker. This also ties into Truth Sayer as well. So, again, Rebecca Yarros gave us the vaguest hint ever that the second signet is on the page. Blah, blah, blah. Well, Rebecca, I love you. I do. I promise I do. But oh my gosh, why so vague? Because there are so many pages. So many pages. Which page? Out of all these pages, which page? We know that signets reflect the writer and what they need and what is at their core. Well, Violet being a trained scribe means she holds ample knowledge. And everyone always looks to her anytime a question is in need of answering. And her professor even said that she is the smartest of her siblings. There's also a line from Iron Flame that could prove this theory. Quote, I'm a person who needs information to center myself. And needs was italicized. This could also explain her scribe personality and her constant fights with the people she loves about the secrets they have kept. Her whole life, she has been filled with secrets, and all she wants is to be in the know. And not have to figure it out on her own or figure out from somebody else. Literally, the whole concept of her and Zayden's relationship throughout the whole book of Iron Flame is just her wanting to know answers and her wanting to get knowledge and be in the know. So I think this is a bit more concrete than a lot of them. And again, it's like very close to the truth there. But I feel like her need for information could also be what backs this theory.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And it does tie into the Truth Sayer. I almost feel like it could be a type of Truth Sayer.
Yeah.
In a sense. Because we know there's different types of intrinsics, and no signet is the same. So this could be a different version of Truth Sayer based on who she is at the core and the knowledge seeking that she does.
Yes.
Oh, man. Okay, so my next theory is crazy, and I don't think it's actually going to happen. Like, I would literally be shocked if this was her second signet. It was inspired by @BookHuddle on Instagram, but I just love how much sense it makes, even though it's highly unlikely, and it has to do with dragons, so obviously I'm going to talk about it. I think that her second signet could be commanding dragons or being a dragon shifter. The first thing that makes me think this way, and also Lauren from Book Huddle also says this as well, I know who and what you are. That's one of the most notable things Taryn has ever said to our FMC, especially the what. What is she? And then also, Taryn calls Andarna Golden One and Violet Silver One. And I was thinking, what if he actually calls Violet by her real name after she fully manifests her second signet and becomes a dragon shifter, dragon commander? And then also, like we talked about in our last Iron Flame episode, she breaks the cardinal rule of talking to bonded dragons that aren't hers multiple times, and she's still alive. It may be possible that she actually started manifesting her signet when she was speaking to other dragons. Another thing, this entire series is called The Empyrean. It's about dragons. It's about dragon politics. Rebecca has confirmed that. And our protagonist is human. She can't enter these meetings. Taryn won't tell her anything because dragonkind protects dragonkind. Maybe if she was part dragon, a dragon shifter, she will eventually be let in on some of the dragon matters, and that would be great because I'm dying to know more. And also, if Taryn dies, we know unless something changes, she's not able to ride Andarna. So if she was a dragon shifter, she don't need no ride. She can just fly on her own. That would be really cool. But I mean, even if she's not a dragon shifter, which I said it's highly unlikely, I think it's possible that she has feathertail blood in her, dragon blood, that maybe her father injected into her to save her. I don't know, crazy thoughts. But in interview, playing devil's advocate, Rebecca confirmed that her second signet is simple, nothing crazy, nothing shocking, and is obvious in Iron Flame, which, like, girl, is it really? Because I don't think it is.
That's interesting because we know that Andorana waited so long to hatch because of Violet. So it could have been like maybe a deal that they struck with the Empyrean to save Violet at birth. I don't know. It would be really cool if she was part dragon or if she was a dragon shifter. That'd be nice.
I know. I need it.
My last one is one that I talk about all the time as well. And I also apologize for anybody who has heard this 50 million times, but we're going to talk about it again. So this actually came from at originally Urban on TikTok, and there's been we do love her. So there's been like very minimum research on feather tails bonding because they rarely ever do, like they never do, and this is mentioned several times throughout the book that feather tails shouldn't bond because they can accidentally gift their powers to humans. Dragons can't channel, not really until they're big, but they're all born with something special. It also stated that this happens when the human uses too much of the feather tail's power, usually from greediness. The last time Violet used Andorna's ability to stop time, she used all of it up on accident, of course, just to save her friends, even though we lost a couple, R.I.P. Liam. And Andorna didn't have the ability to stop time anymore. And I think still this could be that Andorna gifted that power to Violet and she is able to stop time. And there are so many scenes in Iron Flame where Violet counts these fighting scenes and action scenes in heartbeats or seconds, and she kind of slows the scene down so we can get a better understanding of what's going on. So I think that this could be another signet that she has.
I think that might be my number 2.
Yeah.
I think truth saying is probably my number 1.
Yeah.
And I'm torn between amplifying and a compulsion being number 3.
Yeah. I think the more that I learn about these other signets, the less I'm like convinced on the time stopping. I think my top are truth sayer and probably amplifier. Mm-hmm. And then maybe knowledge seeker, but I feel like that one ties into truth sayer as well. So I think like truth sayer and knowledge seeker are like right there together, and then amplifier.
Yeah. God, we're so close to finding out. I've literally been waiting over a year to find out what her second signet is. Literally. Driving myself insane.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. When this book releases and I feel like I'm not getting there fast enough, I'm literally gonna look up spoilers.
To find out her
signet. Like, that's the one thing I do not care. I will be like, what is her signet? I'm gonna give it a couple days. I'm gonna let those speed readers do their thing, and I'm gonna go look it up. I want to know.
I want to know so bad. I mean, I'm planning on probably staying up most of the night to read it because I got to know. I'm gonna be literally dead the next day.
I'll probably try to read the first chapter, but that's it. Like, I don't know. I probably won't even open the book the night I get it because of the simple fact that I have to go to work the same morning.
Yeah. Don't even read a chapter. You're probably gonna not be able to put it down.
Dude, I hate it.
Oh shit, it's 5 a.m. I gotta go to work.
I know.
Well, that is a wrap on this bonus episode, y'all. 4 more days. Don't freak out. I'm freaking out. We cannot wait to talk about Onyx Storm with you guys so soon. So be sure to follow and tune in to our socials for more Onyx Storm content. In the meantime, we do not have an episode releasing next week, but we will have an episode releasing Monday, which will be our Onyx Storm reaction episode. And I'm hoping we actually invited some book talkers to join us so they can also give their reactions to Onyx Storm. So it should be a fun episode. So go and check it out. But thank you for tuning in to this episode.
Yes. Bye, friends. See you on the 27th.
Bye, friends. See you after Onyx Storm comes out.
Woo!